So I got this message from Nathan Chan, who's the founder of Founder, and it says that he made 27.5K USD in 1 week in 5 to 7 hours of his time spent on the weekend proving it out. That is the DM process that I'm going to share with you in this video here today. If you sell coaching, if you sell a high ticket offer, if you have a consulting package, if you sell type of info products or any services of any kind, which you can get leads and clients from through social media, then I will break down the strategy that I've used personally to close multiple millions of dollars in cash collected in the DMs, that my team have done the same as well, and that we've helped hundreds of others do it. In fact, I got this other message from somebody else who had a 105K day from sales that came through in the DMs. So with DMs, the biggest mistake I see people making is this huge long conversation back and forth forever. No. There are two key components in the DMs required in order to make a lot of sales and a lot of money that I'm going to go through here in this video. And to be very clear, if you have someone on your team who's doing sales for you, and if right now you've got a bunch of different offers that somebody could potentially buy, whether it's low ticket, whether it's courses, whether it's info products, right? If there's a bunch of different offers that you're trying to sell on the front end, it's going to be very hard and confusing for your team to do it if you don't systematize it. So if that's the case, and there are different things that you sell in the front end, where there's different prices and all that different stuff, right? You will be better off using this same system that I'll share with you to set sales calls through the DMs. Like as an example, I have a client. She was stuck at around 30K to 40K a month. Her setters that she kept hiring, they kept leaving and they kept failing, and she was getting really frustrated with it. Instead, I showed her this system, and she's not using it to sell in the DMs, she's using it to schedule sales calls with her closers, and now she's making 100K a month, literally from this change here today. So I'm super excited to break this down for you. So DM sales, let's talk about it. Let's break down the process so that you can just copy it. So first things first, there's two things that are important. Number one, making sure that you actually have a prospect in front of you rather than trying to just pitch to any person. Number two, using the magic line. And then I guess there is the third one, which is your hit list and your follow-up process. So let's break them down step by step so that you walk away from this video being able to deploy this, because my videos are always tactical. I like to go tactical, I like to go deep, and I like to make sure that you can walk away with something that you can actually implement. So first things first, prospects. Making sure that you have prospects in front of you. So there, if you think about it, you have to start a DM conversation in order to sell in DMs, right? That's key. That's very, very obvious. But most people don't share with you how to do it. So I like to start DM conversations in one of multiple different ways. The first is through a piece of client generating content. That is where you probably see those posts where, these are basic ones. I'm not going to go into like the really advanced ones right here, but the basics ones are going to be something along the lines of like, are you looking to bring in XYZ number of, get XYZ result this month? I'm taking on this number of people this month, reply this word, and then I'll see if it's a fit, right? Anyways, you know those types of content, right? That obviously then gets people to raise their hand. People call them like hand raiser posts. People call them like two-step posts, right? Like, it doesn't matter what it's called, but basically that's one way of getting people into the DMs. It's simple, but you're obviously not going to get the highest volume there. I prefer like a Trojan horse strategy. And the Trojan horse strategy is as follows. You have a monthly live webinar that you're running every month, or another freebie, another resource that you've got. You then get people to message you a keyword in order to get that free thing. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make is when somebody, let's say you have a post that says, I don't know, I'll show you one of mine just to make sure that we're super on the same page here. And I'll just show you an Instagram post just because it's a lot easier just to show you visually. But you can see here, this post that I made yesterday basically says, I'm giving away this system, comment the word clone or message me the word clone and I'll send it to you, okay? People then come into the DMs. There's an automated message, and then from there, what a lot of people do is they just leave it. They just leave it. Instead, what happens is this, and what I want you to do is this, and this can make you a lot of money when you literally just do this. So everyone that comments on the post or that messages you, after they've gotten the thing that you sent to them, right? The next message, and you can automate this as well, you want to basically say, what are you most hoping to get out of this training? Or what are you most hoping to get out of this masterclass? X, Y, or Z. Give them 3 options. These 3 options should be the things that people most commonly want from you. So let's just say you were a dating coach helping people find the love of their life, right? And let's say you had a masterclass on how to find the love of your life. As an example, you would say, what are you most hoping to get out of this training? To find the one that you want to marry, to find someone to have kids with, or to get over the short-term relationships that you keep running into, right? Something like that. Because it's easy for someone to respond to that because you've basically given them 3 options. It's kind of like, when you do a quiz and there's always a multiple choice answer, it's a lot easier to answer when it's multiple choice than to just, pick one open-ended question, right? So then you give them multiple different things that they can respond to, and as a byproduct of them responding to it, they imply that they have a problem that you can solve. So then after they've responded to that, you know that they do have a problem that you can solve, right? And then from there, you can ask them another question just to make sure that they're an ideal client for you, right? The second question that you're going to ask is basically just going to be depending upon what your ideal client profile criteria is. And then right after that, you use the magic line. Okay, and I'm going to get into what the magic line is in a second. But before I get into what the magic line is, I think what's more important for me to talk about is the hit list and the tracking of all of this, okay? Because if you're going to be selling through the DMs, you need to have a really, really dialed in tracking process in place. And the reason why you need a tracking process in place is because as time goes on, you're going to start getting lots and lots of leads in your DMs. And what ends up happening is if you don't have a tracking process, you lose track of those leads, and then you end up basically losing a lot of money. Just think about it. How much is your offer on average? $5,000, $15,000, $20,000, right? As an example, maybe 2K. Let's say your price is 2K and I don't know, how many DM chats have you ever had in your time, right, with potential clients? How many people have you had on LinkedIn messages or whatever messaging you about your potential offer? Just have a rough idea of that number in your head. And then what you're going to do is you're going to times your price by the number of DM chats that you've had that you've missed out on. How much money did you lose? Let's just say it's only 50 conversations that you've had. And let's say your price is only 2K. 2K times 50, can you see that's 100K right there that you've just lost? Potential pipeline that you've lost because you didn't track your leads properly. Now, I'm not talking about like a CRM here, right? It can literally just be a Google sheet. Name, link to their profile, and then a bit of notes about them. Like, it can be as simple as that to begin with, right? And then anytime someone either responds to your piece of client generating content where they raise their hand, or anytime you're having a DM conversation with them and you find out that they have a problem that you can solve, they get put on your hit list. And your hit list is a list of potential pipeline. And you can have somebody on your team go back through every single chat every day, and they don't say something like just following up. They don't say something like, quick question. No, none of that crap. In fact, I want you to ban yourself